Okay, it's summertime, and a lot of you will do some summertime reading. And a lot of you, although you've been watching my videos and following me for a while, you've never read anything by me. A lot of times when I'm doing conventions, I'm doing festivals and stuff, people ask me, what should I read by you? And I've written approximately 30 books, and I've got other books in the works. I've published a lot of anthologies and stuff like that. So my total library is about 60 books, between 65 books, and I've got more coming down the pipe, so, but we're going to talk about summer. We're going to focus on summer because I usually talk about recommended reading for summer, and I'm going to break this up into different videos, and I'm going to focus on different stuff. Of course, I'm going to focus on my stuff first, but I'm also going to recommend some books by friends of mine that I've read that I really enjoy, indie authors that you probably aren't aware of, but you should read too. And if you are aware of them, you may want to check out these particular books. So in this case, what I'm going to look at is, say you want to read something, but you don't want to read a long book. You don't want to read like a 100,000 page, 100,000 word novel or something like that. You want something to read, as you're traveling, something to read on the plane, something that you're reading if you're riding shotgun in the car and stuff like that. You got a 4-hour drive or something like that, or something you want to read in between hanging out when you're on vacation, like after you come back from the pool, after you've done a tour or something like that, or it's late at night and everybody's chilling out and you want something to read just kind of like for a little bit like that, and something that you probably want to finish during the time of your vacation. So, and I do that sometimes. I take books with me, just a short read, something that I can just, use when I'm relaxing, end of the day, different things like that. So these are some of the books that I've written that I feel like will fit that bill, put it that way. The first one I'm going to talk about is a Sword and Soul book. It takes place in the Changa Safari universe, and it's called Fallen. Now, Fallen is a story about two lovers who find themselves in a unique situation. One is a spirit that was watching over humans, fell in love with a human, and was punished for it. She was made human, but the person that she fell in love with, his soul was taken and put into the body of a lion. So now the two of them must serve the spirits, and this book is a collection of their adventures. This was a story inspired by the artwork of Chris Mosby. We also put some of his artwork throughout the book. I'll show you an example of it. And it's a collection of short stories. And each story is a different adventure about Shange, who is the fallen spirit, and Majoga, who is the person's whose body was put into that of a lion. Here's a picture right here. This is like the original picture, the first picture that Chris ever did of Shange and Majoga. And so these pictures are throughout the book. Again, this is a short book. It's a small book. And it's something that you might even be able to read in one setting, depending on how fast a reader you are. But if you like Sword and Soul, you want it with a little bit of romance thrown in there, Fallen is the book for you. Now, our second book is a book that I've talked about all the time, and I'm talking about it again. It's my short story collection, Muscadine Wine. These are a collection of stories based on me growing up and living in Georgia in the South. Some of the stories have been taken and turned into like fantastic stories. Some of them are contemporary fiction. But if you're from the South and you come around my age group, or even if you just grew up in the South, I think you'll love these stories. I've heard some great stuff about it. People who grew up and talk about their younger days, spending time with their grandparents and stuff like that, they feel like this book is a collection of stories that touches them and taps that part of their history growing up and stuff like that. So if you like that kind of regional, would say folklore type writing, Muscadine Wine is a book for you. Again, small book. You could probably read it in one setting, but it'd be a great book to read in between events and when you're chilling out at the end of the day and stuff like that. So this one right here is for my science fiction cyberpunk people, what we call cyberpunk, and this is called Playing the Odds. This is a short novella, and it's about a cyborg named Carlos Mejia, who is living way in the future, and he's a bounty hunter and a bodyguard, but the company that he works for has gone bankrupt, and because he's a cyborg, he's over 50% parts, he's to be repossessed. Now, of course, Carlos ain't having that, so he finds a street hacker that he knows about named Michelle Carter and says, hey, you got to take some of these parts out of me so I won't be repossessed. And as they start to work together, they find out what's actually happening to him is the tip of the iceberg of something that's going to be like shake their whole society. It's a fast, action-paced story. Reads real fast. We're also working on an animated series based on this book, so check it out, and you can get a head start on everybody else when that comes out. And again, cyberpunk, if that's what you like, you'll like this book. Now, say that you're into a little bit of what they call black fantasy, some Afrofuturism. Say you're a big fan of something like what's the name of the book, the show that was out before? I can't even think of the name of it now. But if you're a fan of Sinners and stuff like that, then you'll love The Long Walk. The Long Walk is what we call steampunk. It takes place in the 19th century about a young girl named Patience Devertrail, who is visiting America from Trinidad with her father. And her father is taking a particular possession that he wants to give to Harriet Tubman, because in this world, Harriet Tubman and a number of other black superheroes protect the city of Nicodemus, Kansas, and they're going to the city. But something happens to Patience's father on the way, and she has to be guarded and by two guardians that are going to take her to that city. And this story is, again, like I said, it's magic, it's mystery, haints, all that kind of stuff. Very action-packed. Again, and something else that we're making into a graphic novel, and the people who have read it have really enjoyed it, and I think you will too. Very over the top. So if you like that kind of stuff, that's what The Long Walk is. And again, small book. Last but not least is a book that I probably wouldn't be talking about this time of year, but if you ever heard of Christmas in July, that's what we're talking about here, and that's Palmetto Christmas. Now, Palmetto Christmas is for you folks that like more contemporary fiction. This is a book that came out of my experiences during the pandemic and watching a cozy story to kind of like keep my mind at rest. And I said, you know what? You know, we always see stories like this, but I've never seen something that was a cozy Christmas story with black folks. So that's what I wrote. I mean, this is deeply rooted in my family's vacationing in the Low Country, Hilton Head, South Carolina, places like that, the Gullah Geechee corridor. And it's also about family too. It's about family coming together, celebrating the holidays, working out some issues. And it's not that over the top type drama, but it's enough to keep you interested. And I think it's something that you'll love. Again, Christmas in July, or you can just buy this one and save it until Christmas comes around, and you can read it during your Christmas vacation. But these are the books that I suggest for your summer reading. I'll hold them all up. They're all available on my website. Be a good opportunity for you to dive into my books and find out what Milton Davis is all about, and find out what MVmedia represents. So this is my first video about, summer reading. My next video, I'm going to get into some longer books, some things that you may want to, that will take you throughout the entire summer, depending on the type of reader you are. And then the video after that will be some recommendations of some of my favorite author friends and some books you might want to check out by them. So that's it. Y'all take care. Peace.